There, of course, focus on the conversation of the day, and it's all about surviving cancer. And like I said, we are actually a few hours, that is less than 24 hours before, of course, we enter into the month of June, which we know is the Cancer Survivors Month. So, of course, we'll be focusing on the strides that we've made as a country as far as cancer treatment is concerned. But before we tackle the conversation, here is a reminder of an ongoing campaign where children all around Kenya rely on water from unsafe sources. So Colgate is asking you to help change this. And just a little water can make a very big difference. For every pack of Colgate that you buy exclusively at Naivas, you help us build 30 water wells that will provide clean water for 120,000 Kenyans. So give a helping hand, shop at your nearest Naivas store or online at naivas.co.ke. For more information about the campaign, go to Colgate Kenya's Facebook page or wellboring/colgate.com. Once again, terms and conditions apply. All right. And of course, it's one of the campaigns that I think almost all of us need to plug in. All right. So let's come back to the conversation. It's all about surviving cancer. And of course, like I said, June is Cancer Survivors Month. So before we get to June, of course, we'd want to understand where we at as a country as far as treatment, and what are some of the things that we can do as individuals to prevent cancer. And in studio, I am joined by Zakaya Rashid, who is a co-founder, Culture Without Cancer, as well as a psychotherapist. So good to see you this morning. How are you doing?
Thank you, Winnie. I'm very much okay, and I'm really glad to be here today.
Karibu sana, looking lovely in red. All right, and of course we also have Judy Mburu, who's a breast cancer survivor. Judy, thank you very much for coming by today. How are you doing?
I am well.
You're
Thank
well.
you for having me.
Karibu sana, of course, looking lovely as well. So let's just start with you, Judy, because again, we're almost like a few hours shy away from June, right? Which is a very, very special month, I would say, to you, together with so many survivors out there. But let's just begin with your story. So in March 2020, you were diagnosed with breast cancer, right? Stage 2B.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to even before the diagnosis. How were you? How were you feeling? Did you have any symptoms? How was life then?
Believe it or not, Winnie, I was perfect. Right. I was in perfect health. In fact, on that February of 2020, I was just coming from vacation from Diani. So I was perfect until March around the 10th, when, as I was bathing, which is the usual story for every other breast cancer survivor, I felt a small lump or, some hardness on my left breast, and ignored it like many of us do. Thought, well, maybe it will just go away. Yeah. So waited a week. It wasn't going away. And fortunately enough, I shared it with a group of friends on a WhatsApp group. And they said, hey, you need to have that checked. So that's where my journey started. And I went, got checked, had my mammogram done and ultrasound. And that's when the results came as suspicious. So that meant they had to remove some bit of what was there for biopsy to get a biopsy.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And of course, after the biopsy was done, of course the doctor comes and says, this is it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, it was, if you remember, March was around the same time COVID was starting. So the results took a while because we were all, basically the country, we had all moved to COVID.
All the focus,
so it took a month. So by then I'd actually forgotten. I was, I'm still fine until I was called into the clinic and told, hey, you need to come and see the doctor because and that's when he went and revealed, and it was a moment of shock.
I can imagine.
So because nobody ever thinks that this illness could come so close home, not just close home, but to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and of course you're never prepared.
You're never prepared
and especially to get that news.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'll come back to you in terms of then the treatment process. How was it for you? How long were you on treatment, and how are you right now? But let me talk to Zakaya. So Zakaya, for you again, Culture Without Cancer. Why that? Why culture without cancer? Just take us through the story behind it very quickly, because again, you also interact with so many survivors as well.
That is very true, and thank you so much for this chance, because it's really an honor. Now, culture without cancer is basically an event that has been dubbed that way. Otherwise, the organization itself is United Against Cancer, and every other year we come up with a major activity, that will actually focus on matters cancer, and we know that for the 12 months that we have in a year, every month except one, we celebrate something to do with cancer. So it's like a whole month of course, a whole year of celebration, but not celebration in that we are happy about what is happening. No, we are celebrating, meaning that we are actually trying to bring to focus the kind of cancer that exists and what it is that we can do about them, and psychoeducating the community on what to do to try as much as possible and minimize both the mortality and morbidity rate. So this particular event that we've dubbed Culture Without Cancer, we are trying to educate the community on what they can do best, the community can do best to try as much as possible to prevent cancer cases by a certain percentage, and also to try and minimize the mortality rate that's basically related to cancer. And we will be talking a whole lot with the community, especially on that particular day, that is the 18th of this June, the upcoming June 18th. That will be on a Saturday, 18th, 2022. We'll be on the ground talking about culture without cancer. How will the community be able to live their lives, and enjoy their lives, but without necessarily, having all these rates of cancer that we are witnessing right now. And we will be talking to them about the preventive measures, and we'll be talking about early detection, we'll be talking about early treatment, and also psychosocial support.
Okay.
So, yes.
Here's the thing. You see, majority of the times when we talk about cancers, I think the focus is usually on what can the government do to make sure that there's provision of this, there's that, there's equipment that, is needed, especially when it comes to radiotherapy as well. But in terms of then us as an individual, right? What is it that then people need to, first of all, understand about cancer? And I think maybe, Judy, you're better placed to answer that. But in terms of then, what can I do as an individual to prevent, an onset of cancer? Because we know there are some instances where it's just, we don't know the cause of the same, so preventing might be a bit challenging. But for the ones that we know, what are some of the things that the society needs to understand?
Thank you. Basically, we are talking about, first of all, preventive measures. Now, we know that we may not be able to prevent cancer 100%, simply because of its genesis, how it comes about. It could be genetic, it could be biological, it could be social, it could be any other thing. So we are trying as much as possible to talk about the preventive measures to a certain, bare minimum. And here we are talking about what is it that we can do in terms of lifestyle to be able to do that. Are we eating healthy? We're talking about promotion of healthy diet. We're talking about healthy exercises. What we do exercises, how do we do them? Because we're talking about healthy exercises. There's a difference between just doing any exercise and healthy exercises. Healthy exercises will touch the entire body and some vital parts of the body. Then healthy diet, very, very important. And it should be like the order of the day. Shouldn't be like when we are falling sick, that's when now we go to the diet. It should start from childhood. It should be
an everyday thing.
Yes, parents should advocate for healthy diets for their children and for themselves. Meaning it should be a lifestyle of a healthy diet, a lifestyle of exercise. That is in the area of prevention. Then where now the worst comes to the worst, and we are talking about now science, just like we had Jody saying, when we detect that something could be wrong with my body, that now we are talking about early detection. Early detection starts with self-examination. What are we doing about it? Are we able to do self-exam to ourselves? When we talk about breast cancer, Jody was talking about the lump. Are we examining our bodies? Are we able to even run our hands, on our breasts and be able to detect something?
Or sometimes we're even scared because you don't want to find any sort of
and that is what,
know?
Again, we are talking about. When you do psychoeducation as a CBO, we are talking about, trying as much as possible to run away from this fear. Let's face the reality.
That's true.
And trying to go and do self-exam does not necessarily mean that will be something here. With us women who are doing breast cancer, there's so much going on. During our menses, just before our menses, we may have all these lumps. In fact, there's a specific time we advocate for that. When you are just getting into your menses, you don't go rubbing your breast because you may be able to see a lot of lumps and you drop dead. not from cancer, but from the fear, because there will be a lot of lumps there because you are going to your menses. So the specific time that we give for that.
Yes.
But apart from that, then we're talking about these other cancers. For example, the cervical cancer. We are talking about noticing some things. Noticing, for example, discharge. How is it? How is the color? How is the smell? And the persistency. For how long has it been going on for you to be able to say, this is not normal discharge. I'm having something. The pain, bleeding. For example, during sexual intercourse, are we having maybe, for example, this pain, enormous pain that maybe is not normal? Then when somebody is going, for a short call, are you having, for example, the pain? Are you having any discharge? Are you having blood coming out? Are your menses, for example, prolonged more than normal? Because those are some of the clues that we are looking at. So for preventive measures, we have all these things. Healthy lifestyle, exercises, and early detection falls under,
Absolutely. And that is very important because, again, for you, Judy, again, yours was picked at stage 2B. But of course, most of the times we see people actually go to a hospital when it's in, the later stages, stage 3 and, around stage 4 thereabout, which makes treatment a bit complicated, right? So for you, of course, the doctor comes and says, you have cancer. Of course, it's a very scary moment. It's confusing. It's just, but then how were you able to deal, first of all, with that news? And of course, I'll come back to you, Zakaya, because again, you are a psychotherapist in terms of how important, psychotherapy is, especially during this time. But for you, how were you able to just, first of all, deal with that information? And then did you start treatment immediately?
It wasn't easy, but thank God I was able to find a doctor who was able to put together a team to take care of me. But just to go back to what Zakaya was talking about early detection, maybe I need to discuss this. Early in 2019, actually in 2019, severally I felt lymph nodes, the nodes,
yes.
Around my under my shoulders, severally, and I ignored them. So can you imagine if I had gone to a doctor immediately? It would probably have been caught at stage 1. Yeah, so early detection, and it's really key that people understand why it is important to actually detect these things early and to do something about them. Back to your question, yes, a lot of anger. I was really confused because you're wondering why me? Why is it happening to me? It only happens to other people. So it takes a long time. You feel literally like you've been thrown into a pit and you can't get out.
Did you sort of question maybe like your lifestyle, try to think maybe it's something that I did that caused this?
Oh yes. You start to think, was it those glasses of wine you took? Was it something I ate? You question so many things. It's something that I did. So that takes a long time before you can get out of it. And this is the point where I tell today I advocate that people be allowed to be vulnerable, to talk about it, because we also have a culture in our society where is kauka, you be strong, and it's really a hard place to come out of. But
I like that. I like the fact that you said allow people to be vulnerable, because again, that is how then they get to deal, with whatever it is that they're feeling, and also able to move forward. But Zakaya, again, so for someone who is like, so then what do I do at this point? Because again, like Judy says, it's a lot of emotions, going on. So for the people around, I would say a cancer patient, right? What sort of support can they offer, and also for the healthcare providers in terms of even delivering this news? Sometimes it's not really good. That makes it worse for the patient.
That is very true, and that part of delivering news, I think we have a problem there, because even the medics, and I'm not really bad-mouthing them, but I'm saying what is there, sometimes they don't know how to deliver news. Because we normally say the right way when we get to see, because the doctor has seen these results, from the test, the test has been done, they've received the results first. So they've called this patient. Do you know we had a particular case where the patient was told, all the way from home. Your results are not looking good, so kindly come here. When you tell me the results are not looking good and I'm home, and I just had
that was on phone.
This, so he's not told, it was a she was not told that you are having cancer, but she was told your results are not looking good. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to get to hear that.
That's true.
So I think it's just a slip of the tongue, but it caused a whole lot of problems, because even reaching the hospital was a problem. So how we deliver news, how the doctor is supposed to deliver news is really, really very important. Let that person come, and in most cases, because the doctor has already seen the result, it's good to allow that person to come with support. A person, that we call a treatment buddy, it starts from there. And that's where now as a psychologist I talk about a treatment buddy, somebody to support this person from day one.
Go through it, yeah.
So let this person come with someone. And as a doctor, you have a way of telling this person, for them not to suspect that there's something wrong. Tell them that you need to come, and maybe you can come with someone because there's something we need to tell you, we need to talk to you about, about your results. And it's very important that, you can bring it out that way. Then when this person comes, because you are imagining what will happen the moment the news have been brought to this person. So when they come again, now the journey starts from there. You let the client know, the person know that, the results are like this, you're having this and this and this. The doctor has this responsibility of explaining what happens now, not just dishing out the results. And it's like, now you come, and then you go, and then come for the next appointment. In between now and the next appointment, what am I supposed to do? There and then the person is supposed to be assigned a counselor.
That's true. That's true, because again, it's a journey.
Take them through, because the journey, believe you me, it starts from there, and it's a very long journey. I call it a long road home. It's a long road home.
It really is.
So going through this, that person, that counselor is supposed to work with this particular person, because he or she has been informed of what is going on. So as now this person is going for the next appointment, also be told between now and then, what are you going to do? And the doctor has every responsibility to explain that to the client in terms of is there any treatment that is going to take place between now and then? When I come, what happens to me? How am I supposed to come? How am I supposed to prepare myself for that next appointment? And it will be next appointment after next appointment after next appointment. Every other time the doctor has the responsibility of explaining, now with the next appointment, what is happening, so that psychologically this person be able to calm down. But just as she said, yes, we need to be vulnerable. It's accepted, and we call it self-compassion. Accepting what is going on in us, and also learn to live with that, but not to die with that, not to wallow in that pain for so long, or in that thought for so long, to learn to come out of it. And with psychosocial support, we can come out of it and be able to take the journey, because it's a long road.
It's a long journey, it's a long journey. All right, so Judy, so you went through treatment again the whole of 2020 and 2021, right? So 2021, again, still going through, because now I know you're going through still your checkup, but how are you?
Well, I
the treatment
feel
process,
great. I feel great. That is in the past. It was a horrid 1.5 years of treatment. I started with surgery. The mastectomy was done, a full mastectomy. Then, of course, now you had to deal with, you have lost a body organ.
That's true.
So, and then immediately thereafter, you start on chemo. So did my chemo 8 sessions until December of 2020, and then started the radiotherapy. So basically, if I can go back to what I was talking about, I had 3. For me, as I was starting treatment, I knew that I needed a surgeon and an oncologist and a radiotherapist. Nobody spoke about me having a psychologist, which was it's really sad. And I wish this person, people like Zakia, could also be brought into the team to assist, to assist a patient.
And I know time is not really on our side. We have very few minutes to end this conversation. So Judy, of course, having gone through this journey, and like you said, it's horrid, you know. And for example, let's say someone is watching us and thinking, well, maybe I'm going through the same, and I just don't know, what to do. What will be your message to a cancer patient and the survivors as well? Because, like I said, we also need to celebrate, the survivors as well. What would you say to them?
Well, for the patients currently going through treatment right now, actively going through treatment, I would want to tell them to remain steadfast and to basically I think it's very important for a patient to also explore what what they are dealing with, so that they can actually come out of because you wallow in self-pity, and so you need to get up and deal with it, because you have it with you, so you need to deal with it. So just to tell them it will be well, and it's just for a short time, and before you know it, it's over.
Yeah.
Yes. And for cancer survivors, we stay strong.
Absolutely. I love that. You stay strong. All right. And of course, very quickly, a comment on the treatment. Of course, in the country, we've made strides, huge strides as far as treatment is concerned. For someone who's like, treatment in the country, what does it look like? What would you say? Very quickly. And of course, what more do you need to see done?
Okay. For me, I think the country is doing, the government is doing something. We really can't throw it all away.
That's true.
I am a beneficiary because I've not been working. I was not working when I started treatment. And, just having NHIF support might work with me until now through treatment. It's commendable, and I think we can do better, but it's still something. And I think for anybody out there who wants to, it's so important to have your NHIF paid up in good time, because you just may never know.
That's true.
So I think there's a lot going on. We can't, we can't rubbish it. We can't rubbish everything. But there's a lot to be done in terms of care for patients. There is still a long way
that needs to be done. All right. And of course, we'll have more of these conversations in June. But for now, Zakaya as well, very quickly, in like a minute, what would you say, and especially that aspect of psychosocial support, which again is less talked about, as far as be strong, you will do this, go for screening, go for early detection, do this, do that. But really, we forget that aspect of psychosocial support. So very, very quickly, in a minute.
Thank you, Winnie. The aspect of psychosocial support starts all the way from prevention, because the continuum flows like this. We've got prevention, early detection, early diagnosis, early treatment, and psychosocial support. But now psychosocial support covers this entire journey from the prevention. We go, we do psychoeducation, we do create awareness to the community. Then again, during the detection part, we work with these clients, telling them you need to do 1, 2, 3 to be able to get extra care, and also to take care of yourself, both psychologically and physically, because psychologically it's really an aspect. People talk about physical support and they forget the psychological support. So someone just comes and asks, have you taken medication? Yes. Okay, you are good. But they are not asking, what are the side effects of this medication? How are you feeling after taking this medication? The side effects are enormous. Then early diagnosis, we advocate for people to see the doctor as early as possible, just as Judy had shared, that you feel that something is not right in my body, but you keep on taking time. I know the fear is there, and it's normal. We are human beings at the end of the day, but we say, yes, it's okay to stay down, but don't stay down for long. Stand up and do something. Then early treatment, very important, because we know up to 70% of people who are treated early enough, they actually get 100% cured. So it's very, very important. Now, when we go to psychosocial support, now which is the last area, then we say we keep on following up on this particular person, even as they on treatment, and even as they walk through the journey of recovery, which is very long. We keep on getting to assess their medical, their mental health, and get to see how are they faring on. Are they okay? And we at United Cancer CBO, that is the continuum of events that we do. And we say, kindly come, we celebrate Cancer Survivor Month together.
I see you. We have, sorry to rush you, but we have a call on the line. Francis from Elgeyo Marakwet, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, and you?
Thank you very much. I am well. So do you have a question or do you have a comment?
I just want to comment on a few issues about our healthcare workers give out the information. I think we have a problem there, because, again, that is not an information you can give someone on phone. I think we should, or the government should strengthen our healthcare system so that the doctors can be trained on how to give out the information. They can also borrow the one from the HIV sector, which is very successful, the APNS mode, where you find the counselors call, talk to the client, and the client walks in the facility to get tested.
Okay.
They can borrow that part because, as the survivors mentioned, someone can even faint. Yeah, when you tell them on phone, your results are
not good.
Are not good. So
all right.
Let's just strengthen our healthcare system.
Okay.
They put on some counseling psychologists in our facilities, so that when they want to relay or give out the information to the clients, they use the counseling psychologist.
Okay. Thank you very much, Francis, for that. Of course, very, very, valid concern over there as far as just delivering this news, and of course also the aspect of psychosocial support. So, ladies, thank you very much. Time is really, really not on our side, but we have to say thank you very much for coming by today. Judy Mburu, breast cancer survivor, as well as Zakir Rashid, co-founder that is Culture Without Cancer, as well as a psychotherapist. Thank you very much. All the very best. In your event, and of course everything that you do. Same to you, Judy, as well. Thank you so much. And of course, we're taking a very short break, but before we go on that break, an ongoing campaign that of course we need to remind you about. And Kenya, what if we told you that you